my YouTube channel, and today we are going to create the portfolio website which is showing some animation effects. So here is the direct code for this portfolio website. Inside the terminal we are just only running our code. So for running our code we are hitting the command like npm run dev. So we are hitting the command. So after hitting the command it will running our application, and you just need to follow this link, and after following this link you will like it is loading. So this is how we can create some animation effect with the help of bootstrap and css. Here I am using basically bootstrap framework, and for this animation effect I am using the keyframe css for this, and I am dividing this like here is the content and image. I divide this page with the help of bootstrap column method, and here the education section is there. Whenever we are hovering on the page it is showing some background changing effect, and here is the experience. Here is the whenever we are hover on the image it will showing some shadow. After that this is the skills and certification section, and this is basically the product component. Inside that here I am creating some adding some background image for this, and when we are hover on this it basically here it is like changing its background color to white. And here I am adding my projects, where if you are clicking on the visit button you will redirect it to other project also. So this is how I am creating, and this is basically the footer. So let me show you the code for this project. Okay, so what you need to do basically inside your app.js file, you just need to call this component. So firstly we are going to see like inside our package.json like which packages we are installing for this. So here I am just installing basically the bootstrap box icons for this project, and inside our index.jsx file here basically for the box icon I am also importing its CDN link. And okay, so inside our app.js file app.css file basically here I am importing the google font for like adding some font family. And then inside our app.js file what you need to do basically you need to import the header. So let's see our component structure. Basically inside our component folder we are creating some files, that is first is the header.jsx, then there is a hero page.jsx, then project.jsx, then we are going towards footer.jsx. So let's see what is inside our header.jsx. And here also there is a assets folder which includes all the images that we are using in our project. And inside our header.jsx basically we need to import the react. Here I am using the react arrow function component. We need to export our component here, and then inside the I am using the basically header element. So inside the header element here is basically anchor tag is there, anchor tag which includes like portfolio logo, and here we are using the css which is logo. And here is basically the heading 5. Inside the heading 5 we are adding the text, that is let's explore my journey, inside the double quotes. So inside basically the css app. Okay, so inside my app.css here basically we are importing the google font, and then here is basically the universal css we are applying for whole the page, like padding margin it should be 0, box sizing it should be border box, font family toppings we are using. And for the main section we are using the background color which is like this black color we are like fixing. And then the css whole css we are adding inside only app.css, so you can refer this css for all the components. And basically hover effect for the heading, nav bars. We are applying some css, and those contents that are coming from like there is something animation effects I am using. So this, with the help of this float image and zoom in, this is animation name, this we are using in the keyframes, and we can give some css like it is the image is floating in our application, so we can use the animation for that. Those contents that are coming from like left side, for that we are using the effect like slide left, slide right, these kind of effects we are using for that. So this is all about the css part. Here I am adding some comments for better understanding of like this is the css of experience page only. And this is all about like this is the footer css, and then here is all about the keyframes I am using. Those like animation effects that are coming in our application. With the help of this keyframe I am adding the animation, those contents coming from the bottom side, left side. Here I am adding just transform translate effect here, and opacity, the opacity effect. Okay, so this is basically those floating images are coming in our like first page, which basically happen with this like float image animation name, and it should be like we are setting the time like for the 0% we need like transform translate y-axis to 0. For 50% we need like transform translate y-axis to -24, and it should be 0. Okay, and also we are adding the media query for like basically the desktop screen, then iPad view, and mobile view. We are adding the css, so you can refer this css, and we are not deeply going inside our css part, we just focus on our application, so you can refer. So this is basically our hero page.jsx component. Inside that we are basically adding 3 images. Basically these 3 images we are importing from our assets folder, and now like here we are creating the react arrow function component. Basically here we are declaring like this, and then we have to export that component also. And inside our main element basically we are adding separate divs. Okay, so let's see first div. It is basically a container fluid, and inside that our home data is there. So basically for dividing our whole width of page into the columns, we are using bootstrap. So this is basically this is basically including the text, and inside this div we are adding one image and the attribute alt here, alternative. And inside this like we are dividing our page for like for the excel screen I want my text, it should be like 8, it should be taking the width of 8 column. And for my image I want for the excel like I want 4 column size. So this is how for the medium scale it should be 7 for the text, for the image it should be 5, and for the extra small I want my image and text, it should be taking the whole width of our web page. So this is all about the columns, and let's see inside our first like column, first div, what is the data. So here basically the simple data, here we are declaring the headings. This is the heading part, and after that for here we are adding the break. Then here is my paragraph simple. Then here I am basically adding some like icons, which is basically the I am using the box icon here. And then here we are adding the class name, which is nothing but the social media. By using this social media class name we are adding some css part to this icons. And here I am basically like creating one anchor tag, which is for like download cv. So for like here whenever we are clicking on this download cv anchor tag, it will be like downloaded our cv. And here like here we are adding some hyperlink, which is basically my like resume link. So here we are adding our resume link for that, and when we are clicking on the download button, it will redirect it to another page. Like here we are creating like target blank, so it will be opening our file into the new browser. So it will be showing our resume to us. So this is all about our first due data. Okay, and then basically inside our second view, here we are basically adding the images, pic image I am importing from here. So here we are importing our pic, here we are importing our pic image from assets folder, and we need to add inside the curly braces. This is how we can add any images in this. Okay, so this is all about our first view. What it will be showing, like I will show you the output. So basically we are seeing right now this much content, like this is for first view, and it will taking the width like 7 by 7 by 5. So it will be taking like this width in the column. So this will we are covering this much, we are covering here. Okay guys, so this is our basically the div of education section. Inside that we are again adding two divs, which is basically one div which represent the image, and another div it will represent basically the text. Okay, so inside our like first div we are adding one image, which is education image. We are importing from here, which is the image which we are importing from this assets folder, and we are dividing the our page into the column, which is with the help of like bootstrap. We are like dividing our whole page into the columns, and this is how we can add the images inside the curly braces. We need to add like this, and then again the second div basically, which is represented like education section. All the data which is related to your education, you can add your own data. And here basically inside the unordered list, here I am adding some data, and with the help of HTML elements we can use, and we can add the data, and we can add some CSS styling for that. And here basically I am using the strong tag, which will bold this text, and basically I am using the class name, which is btech bg. And this is how inside the link we can add inside our unordered list we can add the links, and we can like represent our data as we want. So this is all about our education section. So next section is all about basically our experience. So similar same as follow, we are creating basically the two divs. So as you guys can see, here are two divs we are creating. One div is basically for an experience image, and then another div basically for the data. And similar structure we are following for this also, and like we are dividing our page and into columns, and then here we are adding CSS for the text, and for the images we are adding. So this is how we can import our image of like experience image we are importing here. And then inside our experience section, this is how we can add the data. Here I am adding the ID for the experience div, like order list. Here we are creating order list for this, and this is how we can add the data like that. And here also I am using the strong element. So mostly I am using the HTML elements here to make the text more impressive and look more beautiful. We can use the HTML elements like strong tag, you can use bold also. And inside our paragraph we can add like an order list, and inside that list we can add our data. Here it is basically related to my education section, so simply I am creating this section. And here just I am adding one image of a experience section. Okay, so our last div basically which represent skills, and another section is basically related to the certification part. So here also we are creating two divs, and inside that two divs basically here one section is for one section which represent all our skills. So you can add your own skills inside unordered list. And similarly we can add like certification section, those certification sections that you have done in your like curriculum, or you have done some certifications, you can add your own certifications inside this link. Okay, so this is all about our hero page. You can follow this, and then now we are going towards our footer. Okay. Okay. So at the end we are having the footer file. So inside the footer file, basically this is the empty fragments. Inside that we are declaring a div. So we are following the same structure for like we are using bootstrap. So we are creating three divs, and inside first div we are using container fluid. Second is we are adding row, and third class name, there is the column 12, we are using entire width, and we are adding css, that is footer. And here we are declaring two paragraphs. Inside first paragraph we are using like design by Ms. Falguni Kayal, and here is the Centralogic company. We can change it, it's just random I'm taking. Okay, so inside our app.js we are using basically we are we import our footer file. Here we are importing our footer file. Okay, so now what we need to do, we are just we see which file is not saving right now. App.js file is not saving, no? So let's check our output. So our header is basically sticky, so that is why it is not going anywhere, it is just sticky, it's just constant. Okay, so this is how whole website look like. Thank you for watching.